Oof, you look miserable. You doing all right?
Yeah, man, I wish this Battle Royale shooter had Hatsune Miku in it.
Yeah!
Video game crossovers. Whether it's Joker Persona 5 in Smash Bros. Or Peter Griffin in Fortnite. It's almost strange when a game comes out nowadays and doesn't have some kind of weird collab. And while when I was a kid, I thought it was the coolest thing ever, nowadays, when I see
They put Springtrap in Dead by Daylight?
I don't think it's fun anymore. So why? Why are we so culturally burnt out on what is objectively a pretty cool thing? The answer's complicated, but I would argue that it starts probably with...
You're the first real gamer I've seen all day. Hey, now check this out. Blast processing on the Sega Genesis. Nintendo, none of that. What's blast processing? Now the Nintendo. Remember to get it from Gregory's Toy Chest. Otherwise, I'm losing the house.
Do you guys remember the Sonic and Mario rivalry from the 90s? I don't. I was 9 years old. But its effects on the games industry, and I would argue wider culture, was massive. Sega, looking to take on Nintendo's top spot in the industry, took a gamble.
Instead of relying on traditional marketing, they decided... The plumber?
Look at this piece of garbage. Who'd like him? And his hat's stupid. These rivalries made people feel like their console was their team, their guys. I love my PlayStation and I wouldn't be caught dead on an Xbox. I hate the color green and I love Crash Bandicoot. And so the console wars began. The only war in the 2000s.
Said it appeared to back.
The only one. This aggressive approach eventually went out of style as Sega caught more and more on fire with confusing product launches. And Sonic turned into this. Growing up as a kid, after all this happened, sure, Sonic was a separate thing to the world of Nintendo, but I always saw Sonic games release on the Wii. I had no idea that he used to be this massive deal. I also had Sonic Heroes, the best game of all time. Look it up, Zoomers. Okay. Nintendo apparently had talks with Sega to cross over their mascots all the way back in 2005? In secret meetings between Sonic's creator, who by the way is a sentenced criminal, and Miyamoto. But they said they'd need one last reason for it to all happen. A shared location, a reason for the crossover to even exist. The culture of the Olympics in the 2000s was genuinely unmatched. This weird combination of sportsmanship, globalization, and corporate interest led it to being one of the just most hyped things growing up. And Sega, armed with a license to use the Olympics name, finally had their reason to team up with him. I'm really sorry for insulting your hat, mate. It's not that Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games was the best Wii game of all time, or I'll be entirely honest, a particularly alright one, but it represents a really interesting era, not only in gaming, but also culturally. It showed it was possible to work together to bury the hatchet and build a better future. And also that Waluigi is really good at pole vault. It raised eyebrows and it expanded what was possible in gaming. It also made a lot of money. Mario and Sonic Sports Day was a resounding success, but it was also very clearly an experiment, and a weird one at that. Smash Bros. On the Wii, though, was a huge deal. Up to this point, it had only featured Nintendo characters, with Big Red always being really overprotective of its brand. Sometimes to the point of insanity. So then, when Sonic went up against Mario in... Holy shit, that was a shooting minigame? All bets were off! And so, at E3... Okay, yeah, also Sonic. But Solid Snake, a character that isn't very Nintendo. Nintendo was clearly pushing for Smash Bros. To be a celebration of gaming as a whole. And I'm so here for it. The cultural lead up to Smash Bros. Should be studied, man. There's nothing else quite like it. In the same way that all of these different characters in gaming come together, the wider gaming community as a whole always comes together and forms something entirely new. There's a real power that crossovers in gaming can hold, if dealt with care and attention. You know where this is going. Now, it's the popular thing to say that Fortnite has ruined gaming, that it's the worst that it's ever been, and represents this deep greed that's permeated our whole culture. And they're not wrong, but I think the answer lies somewhere in between. As our media tastes change, and in terms of social media really change, we're always looking for more and more stuff to saturate our dumb brain boxes. Which is why on Saturday night, you'll find me at the casino. This, naturally, also applies to video games, especially live service video games that can only continue to exist if they're making money. So exciting stuff like crossovers do that. They reinvigorate interest and they make the game feel like a living thing, rather than games from 10 years ago that were one and done experiences. But when it happens so frequently, it doesn't feel like an event anymore. It feels like corporate greed. Fortnite can't exist if you're not excited to see Peter Griffin rocking out to Weezer's Buddy Holly. And so they keep pushing crossovers further and further. It's not special. It's not a celebration. And I think that fatigue leaks into every other aspect of gaming. And it poisons it. So now if a new Smash game was announced, I don't know how interested I'd be in it. Especially after Ultimate that felt so ultimate. They'd have to do something really big to bring me back.